let's start with the discussion of prelims specific questions. These are some questions from the 2023 UPSC prelims paper. We'll try and find answers to these questions, but simultaneously we are also going to look at some other facets which are associated with these questions. I'm going to discuss 5 questions today. Let's start with question number 11. Consider the following statements. Statement 1 says India, despite having uranium deposits, depends on coal for most of its electricity production. This is the first statement. The second statement is saying uranium enriched to the extent of at least 60% is required for the production of electricity. This is an assertion reasoning question wherein you'll have to find out as to whether the first and second statement are correct and whether first statement is the correct explanation of statement 2. This is a unique format which UPSC has started asking questions on, particularly from the 2023 prelims paper. Let's try and find out the right answer. The first statement definitely is correct. India definitely has deposits of uranium. However, India still continues to depend on coal for majority of its electricity production. Approximately 58% of its energy is produced through coal. Second statement, on the other hand, is wrong. Why? Because uranium enriched to the extent of at least 60% is not required for the production of electricity. This is too much, right? Around 20% uranium enriched is going to be sufficient for the production of electricity. The 90% plus enrichment is going to be considered as weapons grade uranium. So that is quite a high level of enrichment and is not required for the production of electricity. First statement is correct, second is incorrect. That is why C is going to be the correct answer to this particular question. Let's try and find out its explanation as well. India utilizes a mix of traditional energy sources such as thermal, nuclear as well as hydroelectric power. That means we have a very diverse energy basket when it comes to the different energy sources which India uses. Please also remember that we also have renewable energy options as well, like wind, solar, biomass, as well as a recent buzzword, green hydrogen, right? And the various substitutes of hydrogen. They are also used to generate electricity. The predominant method, however, remains coal-fired thermal power plants. And this accounts for around 58% of the country's total electricity output. During the fiscal year 21-22, nuclear power also contributed approximately 3.15% to the national electricity supply. But this is a low number compared with the thermal power which is produced in the country. For power generation, uranium needs to be enriched to around 3 to 5% of the U-235 isotope. On the other hand, research reactors often require uranium enriched to at least 20%. That's it. But if you are enriching uranium to as much as 90%, it is going to be classified as weapons grade. It is not going to be used in the production of electricity. Rather, it is going to be a weapons grade uranium. So this, I hope, explains the question. Let's come to the next question. Consider the following statements. Statement 1 says marsupials are not naturally found in India. Statement 2 is saying marsupials can thrive only in montane grasslands with no predators. Very interesting question from UPSC. Which of the above is correct in respect of the above statements? Similar theme. Both statements have to be found whether both the statements are correct and whether the first statement is the correct explanation of statement number, whether the statement 2 is explaining statement number 1. That is to be figured out. So please try and look at this question. The correct answer to this question is marsupials are not naturally found in India. This statement is definitely correct. Second statement is, however, wrong because marsupials can thrive in many other climates apart from mountain grasslands. So this is an extreme statement. That is why it is wrong. The correct answer to this particular question once again is going to be C. Statement 1 is correct. However, statement 2 is incorrect. Let's try and look at the explanation. 1 is accurate. Why? Because there are approximately 270 species of marsupials which are existing worldwide. This is a good number. These species are predominantly found in Australia, Papua New Guinea and South America. These are the prominent states or areas or countries or continents where marsupials are found. Marsupials such as kangaroo, wallabies, wombats, opossums, bandicoots and koalas, these are the prominent marsupials. They are not native to India. Majority of them, even if they are found in India, are going to be considered as exotic species. And not all female marsupials possess a pouch as seen in kangaroo. Kangaroo is the best example of marsupials, and they are also known as marsupium, which is a distinguishing feature of this particular group. Marsupials are known for having exceptionally short gestation periods, sometimes lasting only 10.5 days. This is a very unique thing or concept about marsupials. Statement 2, however, is inaccurate. Why? Because in South America, marsupials inhabit tropical rainforests. Right? The question says only montane grasslands, tropical rainforests, and are very adaptable to various levels of the forest environment, ranging from arboreal to terrestrial layers. While wombats, for example, create burrows underground, खड्डा खोद के underground जाके रहते हैं. The Virginia opossum holds the distinction of being North America's sole or the only marsupial. That is why the second statement is going to be wrong, whereas the first statement is correct. Please remember this. Interesting and important. Next question. Question number 13. Invasive species specialist group that develops global invasive species database. This belongs to which of the following organizations? There are 4 different organizations whose names are given here. We have to find out the correct organization. Factual nature का question है. The options are IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature, the United Nations Environment Programme, the United Nations World Commission for Environment and Development, and last but not the least, the WWF, Worldwide Fund for Nature. Correct answer to this question is the IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature. Let's try and find the explanation to this. The Global Invasive Species Database, also known as GISD, this was initiated and maintained by the Invasive Species Specialist Group of the Species Survival Commission. These are important keywords, please remember them, can be asked in the subsequent question papers of UPSC. And this is part of the International Union for Conservation of Nature. This project emerged from the international efforts to manage the invasive species, spearheaded by the now defunct Global Invasive Species Program. This is a defunct program, that means it is not running at this point. In the year 2000. Over the last 2 years, the GISD had undergone significant redesign supported by the Environment Agency, Abu Dhabi, the Italian Ministry of Environment, and ISPRA, another important institute which can be asked, which is Institute for Environmental Protection and Research, which is associated with Italy. What does this do? This basically invasive species specialist group, what exactly does it do? It was established in 1994 and operates under the Species Survival Commission, SSC, Species Survival Commission of the International Union for Conservation of Nature. This global network comprises experts who tackle various challenges posed by invasive species. What are the primary goals of ISSG? They are to increase the awareness about environmental, social, as well as economic consequences of invasive species. Another is to enhance the capacity of individuals and organizations to effectively manage and mitigate the invasive species, the problems associated with invasive species. To promote cooperation among experts, policymakers, and other stakeholders to formulate robust strategies and policies for the prevention, early detection, and management of invasive species. Also, to fulfill these objectives, the ISSG undertakes a variety of activities and projects. What are the projects which ISSG undertakes? First is managing the GISD, which is an extensive online database that provides detailed information on invasive species, including their effects and management approaches. It also develops and circulates guidelines and best practices for the management, control, and elimination of invasive species. Organizing capacity building workshops and training sessions is also done to improve the expertise of those involved in management of invasive species, that they can be both flora as well as fauna. And finally, it can be participating in policy formulation and advocacy at various government and international levels. So this is the job of ISSG, which is associated with International Union for Conservation of Nature. Next question. The question is, consider the following fauna. Animal species: lion-tailed macaque, Malabar civet or civet, and sambar deer. How many of the above are generally nocturnal or most active after sunset? You have to find the correct options to this particular question. The correct answer is lion-tailed macaque is not nocturnal, Malabar civet is, sambar deer also is. Only 2 is the right answer. Nocturnal basically means most active after sunset. दिन में सोते हैं and रात में विचरण करते हैं, जागते हैं. The lion-tailed macaque, known as the wanderoo, predominantly inhabits the upper layers of tropical evergreen rainforest and monsoon forest. We'll read about lion-tailed macaque because it can be asked in the future examinations as well. Apart from that, they reside at an altitude ranging from 330 to approximately 6,000 feet. The species is exclusively found in Western Ghats and adopts to various elevations. India may you'll find lion-tailed macaques predominantly in the Western Ghats. These macaques are active during the day and typically form groups of 10 to 20 individuals. Since they are active in the day, they are not nocturnal, rather they are diurnal species. The first statement definitely is going to be wrong. They belong to the old world monkey category and they have a distinct way of establishing their territory. What is that? Males use their vocal calls to mark the boundaries of their areas. Their communication repertoire includes up to 17 different vocalizations, reflecting a very complex social structure. This is unique about the lion-tailed macaque. They are also characterized by a distinctive, long, thin tail with a tuft reminiscent of a lion's. That is the name. That is the reason why they have been named as lion-tailed macaque. And their appearance also is quite striking. These primates are native exclusively to India and reside in the fragmented, dense forests of Western Ghats, particularly across Karnataka, Kerala, as well as Tamil Nadu. The conservation status of the lion-tailed macaque is listed as endangered by the IUCN, and it is also included in Appendix 1 of the CITES. Please remember, Convention of Endangered Trade in International Trade in Endangered Species, CITES agreement. In India, it is protected under the Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act. Thus, their conservation is a priority given their limited and fragmented habitat. Apart from that, they are also an endangered species. Important hai, can be asked further as well. Lion-tailed macaque. Next is Malabar civet. It is a nocturnal species. That means it basically is more active in the night and is an elusive animal. It is endemic to the Western Ghats of India and are mainly found in the wooded plains and hill slopes of evergreen forests. The IUCN has declared the Malabar civet as critically endangered, and they are among the 15 most threatened mammals in the world as of now. 15 most threatened mammals in the world as of now. They are definitely a nocturnal species. Next, the sambar deer. It is also has a scientific name of Rusa unicolor. It is a substantial deer species and originates in the Indian subcontinent as well as the Southeast Asia. And they are known for their elusive nature. They are not easy to catch. These deers are predominantly active during twilight, particularly in the night and nocturnal hours. They inhabit a wide variety of forest environments, including dry deciduous forests, rainforest, and mixed forest. An essential part of their ecosystem, sambars facilitate seed dispersion across their habitat. They play a very crucial role, that role of seed dispersion. Geographically, their habitat extends from the Himalayan foothills across southern Asia and as far as the islands of Taiwan, Sumatra, and Borneo. The primary threats they face are hunting and the encroachment of their natural habitats. Adaptively, sambars have become more nocturnal in an effort to evade the hunters who target them for both trade as well as consumption. They are classified under the category of vulnerable and not endangered. The lion-tailed macaque was classified as endangered. On the other hand, sambar are classified as vulnerable and are also protected under the Schedule 3 and not Schedule 1. Lion-tailed macaque was under Schedule 1, Schedule 3 of the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. And this is basically a nocturnal species. That is why 2 and 3, that is only 2 statements, is going to be the correct answer. Next and the last question, which of the following organisms perform waggle dance for others of their kin to indicate the direction and distance to a source of their food? Very interesting dance. Waggle dance is associated with which of these following organisms? Options are butterflies, dragonflies, honeybees, and wasps. The correct answer to this particular question is C. That is, honeybees are associated with the concept of waggle dance. We'll read more on this. Honeybees, they basically form colonies that are ruled by a single queen, overseeing the entire hive. There are worker bees, which are all female and are typically the only bees observed outside the hive. These workers are responsible for 3 things: gathering food, constructing the honeycombs, and also defending their homes in cases of invasion. To convey information about the location, distance and quality of food sources to their hive mates, honeybees perform a very interesting dance. That exactly is called the waggle dance. This dance combines movements as well as sounds that incorporate celestial navigation, visual flow from the retina and the relative value of the food source. This is the unique feature of waggle dance. And let's now talk about the Indian black honeybee, which has been asked in the question per se. Recently, scientists have identified a unique species of honeybees native to the Western Ghats. This new species is named as Apis carinjodia. Please remember this scientific name, and is commonly referred to as the Indian black honeybee. This marks the first discovery of a new honeybee species in the Western Ghats in over 2 centuries. The previously recognized species from this region was Apis indica, which was documented in 1798. Although initially described by Fabricius, who is the author, Apis indica was not acknowledged as a valid species until recently. Now we have been able to figure out Apis carinjodian, which is going to be a traditional Indian black honeybee species. Fine. And this distinct species was validated through the criteria of radiomedial index. So you can read more on this particular topic, can be asked as a question in prelims examination. This advancement not only confirmed the unique status of Apis indica, but also led to the identification of this another species, Apis carinjodian. This evolved from the Apis cerana morphotypes that adapted to the warm and moist conditions of the Western Ghats, and the range extends across the central and southern regions of the Western Ghats and Nilgiris, covering the states of Goa, Karnataka, Kerala as well as Tamil Nadu. So this is something about the Indian black honeybee, and the correct answer associated with waggle dance is honeybees. I hope this was a fruitful session for all of you. Thank you so much. We'll connect again. Thank you.